The Hubble Space Telescope, or HST, is an extremely crucial and pivotal scientific instrument that has represented a huge leap in scientific exploration and observation. During the 25 years that have passed since its launch, the HST has encountered things previously unknown to science, sparked new questions about the universe, and initiated a new exchange of information about space with the general public. Telescopes have been a major part of astronomy since Galileo studied the moons of Jupiter through one in 1609. One main thing, though, limits what telescopes can see from Earth, namely Earth's atmosphere. Light that enters the atmosphere is scattered and distorted, making images of objects in space blurry. This hindered a lot of astronomical work in the 1900s. In 1946, astronomer Lyman Spitzer published a paper suggesting that a telescope be sent into orbit around the Earth. That way, astronomers could get clear images of space and see everything that the atmosphere blocked. Unlike similar papers that others published before him, though, Spitzer pointed to new rocket technology as a method of getting a telescope into space. Nonetheless, his ideas still encountered a lot of opposition.
And it was like, oh, it's too expensive, how are we going to do it? I mean, some of the original concepts had astronauts going up there and changing film and things like that before digital detectors.
So it was a long process.
But it was a long process, but eventually the community got behind the project and proposed it. And then so it had to go through this whole additional process of once the idea caught on in the science community, then pushing it through Congress and the agency.
NASA began working on designs for what would become the HST in the late 1960s and presented the project to Congress in 1973, asking for between $400 and $500 million. Congress declared the telescope too expensive and denied NASA the money, in addition to cutting $39 million from the agency's overall budget. NASA lobbied Congress for years before getting the funding they needed. Once construction on the HST began in 1978, the scientists working on the project encountered more concerns about the telescope than just its cost. Skeptics pointed out that the very act of putting a telescope in space was risky and not guaranteed to work because of the new technology involved. This sense of danger was reinforced when the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded on launch. There was also no way of knowing if the telescope's explorations would encounter anything interesting. Still, there was a high level of excitement when the HST was launched in April 1990. When the first pictures came back, however, the excitement turned to worry for the scientists at NASA. It turned out that the HST's primary mirror had been ground incorrectly.
Mistakes were made in the individual testing that caused the shapes of the mirrors not to complement each other as they should have. And so it caused the initial images to be out of focus.
The telescope and the scientists who worked on it were immediately mocked and scorned by the public, as well as by the scientists that had been skeptical of the HST's performance in the first place. The telescope certainly could not take pictures and do research of the quality it was supposed to without added assistance. Luckily, the HST orbits the Earth not far above the atmosphere and was furnished with corrective mirrors via a servicing mission in 1993. The HST made its first and greatest major finding in 1994. For 10 days, the telescope was pointed at a small region of space near the Big Dipper with the hopes of being able to see distant galaxies. This was done at the insistence of Dr. Bob Williams, then director of the Space Telescope Science Institute, which processes all the data the HST collects.
There were predictions made by important scientists like John Bacall and papers that said, no, they're going to be too faint for Hubble to see.
The HST did see the galaxies, though, in exquisite detail.
Essentially as a pencil beam looking out to the most distant universe, so we could see a few galaxies were nearby and more that were very distant but much fainter. And it showed differences between them.
In addition to shining a light on how galaxies evolved, the Hubble Deep Field image proved that the HST was capable of examining space in the way it was intended to, and that space has a lot to be explored. And the HST has explored space intensely, mapping the distribution of dark matter, a force which causes galaxies to clump together, taking spectrums of star emissions, and capturing what may be the first ever picture of a black hole, in addition to taking the many pictures that people stare at in awe. One specific finding, however, is second to only the deep field in importance. In the 1920s, astronomer Edwin Hubble observed that galaxies in the sky were moving apart and concluded that the universe was expanding. Nailing down the rate of this expansion was one of the things scientists hoped to do using Hubble's namesake telescope. They expected the rate to be slowing down, but by measuring the brightness of particular exploding stars, they found that the rate was actually speeding up. Some strange force, dark energy, was acting on the universe.
You know, I think that one of the statements that's been made recently is whatever we can imagine Hubble is showing about the universe, Hubble is showing that the universe is even weirder. And the other thing is that every question we ask, there's always a twist to the answer. And I think that's it. It's not that, oh, we discovered the acceleration of the universe, or oh, we saw the atmosphere of an exoplanet. It's that every one of those things raises a new question. Well, why is that? Why are there things the size of Jupiter really close to stars, and they've survived? Why is the universe accelerating? How come we can only see 4% of the universe and all the rest of it is either dark matter or dark energy? So I think the discoveries are not only the thing you discover, but it's the cascade of questions that come afterward and trying to understand how this whole system works and where we fit in it.
The images that the HST has sent back have also had a huge impact on the public's view of space.
But the fact is, it has brought the importance of some important concepts to the public that the public, some aspects of the public have hesitated to accept, like evolution. Everything is changing. Everything. Stars, planets.
In exchange for sharing the telescope's images with the public, NASA has received a lot of public support. When NASA head Sean O'Keefe canceled the final HST servicing mission in 2004 due to the destruction of the Columbia, scientists, politicians, and average Joes alike cried foul. For many, the best images and findings had yet to come from the telescope, and cutting its life short was insulting. Due to the negative publicity, O'Keefe resigned the following year, and his successor, Michael Griffin, reinstated the mission, which was completed in 2009. The HST is currently expected to be operational for about 10 more years. The Hubble Space Telescope was one of the most groundbreaking scientific instruments of the 20th century. After encountering and overcoming struggles before and after launch, the telescope has been revolutionary in its exploration of deep space, encountering unknown phenomena and seeing known ones at a new level. The things that the Hubble telescope has found have caused long-held questions about the universe to be answered and exchanged for more questions, and have forever changed the human perception of space.
Mission Control, Houston.
Right, I'll start with the bad news. Telescopes on Earth have bad views, cause light gets distorted by the air and we end up with images of space that we can't use. So we put a telescope up above the sky, 350 miles high, 43 feet long, 14 wide. We named it after Edwin, that's this guy. That's a telescope they're installing. Oh yeah. It's in orbit, and that's why Hubble can see. It can tell telescopically how to build new galaxies and the rate at which they recede. That's what Hubble can see. When the pics came back, they were kind of blurred. Didn't take them long to figure out what had occurred.